Hey everyone, this week I'm going to start building the LEGO Ideas Treehouse. There are 19 bags of parts total, so this might take a while. I'm going to start with parts bags number 1 and 2, which is the foundation, and just see how long it takes me to do that. As you can see, parts 3 and 4 is the start of the tree, 5 and 6 is a little bit more of the tree. I'm going to see how long it takes to get the base done and decide how many videos this is going to be from there. Let's get right into it. First up, there's a minifig. There's a minifig. I'll set him aside. Okay, let's build the base. It's going to be fairly robust if we have Technic pieces going on here. You can tell what's going to be visible and what isn't by the color. All the brightly colored pieces is definitely not going to be visible. Starting to get a sense of how big this is. So we start to see a little bit of detail around the outside. This part will all be visible, and the sloping green elements and light brown are just to indicate like foliage, grass, roots, that kind of thing. And it looks like a little bit of a stepping stone over here. Oh, a couple pins. This is really going to hold it in place. It goes all the way into those red Technic parts right there. Probably wasn't needed to do that, but it's definitely going to make it so that can't pop out suddenly just from the clutch power of the bricks. Now it would have to take the pin with it. Of course, I'm just looking at it now going, man, that's going to be really fun to take apart because there's no way to get a hold of that pin. Now there's a translucent yellow gemstone here, and it's just going to sit loosely in here. I'm hoping that gets covered up because I don't want that to be a loose part just kicking around. If you watch my other videos, you've heard me mention I don't like loose parts. Before I start covering this up, oop, see, it fell out already. Before I start covering this up, there's kind of a shot of just kind of the guts of the set. Just some infrastructure. It's a little flimsy. These connection points right there, it's only held on by one stud. So once we get this on top, it'll hold the side in. So this does cover up that gem. That. Now a continuation of the stepping stones. Well, that is the end of bag number 1. And it's only half of the foundation. See, the side's flat, so there's going to be a second half over here. I don't think the second half's as big as the first, because this should be the center of the tree. And it would seem really odd to have a big piece over here if the tree was only going to be over here. So the second half is probably a lot smaller. Nothing too exciting. Most of the infrastructure is now buried under these dark green plates. We've got the detail around the outside, which is just sloping elements to mimic grass, roots, that kind of thing. And then a start of a stone path here. I can maybe put the minifig here, as like I like to do while I'm building. He should be out of the way there. Now the minifig did come with a hat, and you can either have the hat on or the hair, but I want to keep the hat with the set, but I don't want it to be loose. So I think what I'm going to do, I've got a couple of spare pieces left over. I'm going to build a little pedestal and pop that in so the hat's got something to sit on. I'm just going to put the hat on the ground here, maybe right next to him. Then that way the hat is attached to the set so it can't come apart, and I know that it goes with this set. Well, that really didn't take that long, so we'll just get right into bag number 2 and finish off the base here. Looks like it's actually mimicking a stream, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of clear bricks, which I don't have that many of, so this is great to have this much in this set. This appears to be its own assembly, so I'm going to move this out of the way and do the assembly, and then we'll attach it together. So these light blue pieces, which are going to be used for representing water. There's our attachment points to the main assembly. Well, this assembly is not quite done, but we have to attach it to the main assembly now, because there's going to be some stitching in between the two. So there's our footprint. Now, the blue tiles on their own is a good way to represent water. Adding the clear tiles on top just makes the water look more active, like it's got rapids or something. So putting clear over the blue, you'll still see the blue, but it'll just make it look more dynamic. There's the stream. Looks okay. I actually kind of think I would have preferred it without these. Maybe it'll grow on me. That's the end of bag number 2. So we just added this one side, bit of a stream. I do like how they gave it a little bit of shape by putting these bricks around the outside to make it look like it narrows down a little bit. So it looks okay. Let me know what you think of the stream in the comments. Do you think it would look better without the clear tiles on top? Maybe a mix of clear tiles and not clear tiles to kind of make it look varied. I'm curious what other people do in your own builds. Nothing too exciting, because I think the tree is going to take up a lot of this interior space, so there isn't any detail right here. All the details on the outside edges. Next up is bag number 3, which will start building the lower half of the tree. This appears to be its own assembly, so I'm going to set this off to the side for now. There are not a lot of parts here in bag number 3, so this is going to go really quickly. A lot of side-facing studs. 4 of those. Now I just want to take a minute to show this assembly. It is 4 round 1x1 studs, and I'm not sure what to call this piece. It's a round stud with an extension coming off of it. Now I've seen this kind of construction before on many assemblies that start with like a square core and then need to have stuff put on the 45-degree corners. So this assembly allows this to be installed on the corner with the extension sticking out, and that will allow for an attachment later on. So keep this in mind if you're doing a central core and you need to have stuff attaching into the corners. Using door frames here allow for a lot of vertical extension with only a couple parts. There's our central core. Now we'll use these to give it more structural stability. The clutch power on some of these parts seems a little weak. Well, that's the end of bag number 3. That was really quick. Very symmetrical construction. We have our side-facing studs on the 4 sides, and then on the diagonal corners, this assembly with extension coming out, which will allow for attachments into these corners. Since that was so quick, we'll just get right into bag number 4, which will add more coverings onto the side of our central core and then attach it into our main assembly. Definitely more pieces in bag 4 than there were in bag 3. These dark brown pieces are so hard to see in the instructions. I'm going to have to be careful between light brown and dark brown. They're very hard to distinguish between the two in the instructions. Now this assembly gets attached to the one side here. Squeeze that on tight. Give that a good squeeze again. 2 more sides to go. Another larger piece for this side. One side left to go. Last side of the main 4 sides. Squeeze that on. It's a pretty solid core. Okay. Now this is going to get installed onto here. It's got some smooth tiles down here. And there's a 4x4 pattern, should fit right in between those 2 smooth tiles. Okay, press that in. Now we'll further lock all that in with a couple pins, or sorry, with 1 pin. Right through the top. There we go. And a couple Technic retainer pins, or washers. Now we can start filling in some of the upper parts here that we left off. Well, we have a printed brick here. I'm happy to report, at least so far, there's no stickers in this set. There's a printed brick in this bag of parts. It says, "Build your dreams, KF." Okay, so in bag number 3, we had the assemblies which showed the elements sticking out on the 45-degree corners, which is just a extension coming out of a round 1x1. Now we have some Technic parts here, which have some Technic pins in this Technic element, which will be used to slide over that part. I'm not sure which of the receiving parts this is going to line up with. Oh, that actually worked out rather well. It didn't go into the round blue piece, it went into the black piece. So I'll show a close-up of this in a minute. just slid in like that. Now we'll fill in the other 3 corners. That one went on nice. That's the end of bag number 4. We have the lower half of the tree put on here. Our nice 45-degree corners are installed. And then all the detail around the tree is just kind of randomized so that it looks more natural, like bark. Looking good so far. Now there's another level that goes on here before we actually start building the house part of the treehouse. So this is going to be quite big. I'm definitely going to have to reset my camera for that one. So this seems like a good place to stop for now. Thank you so much for watching. We will continue with this build next week.